Hello everyone, my name is Thomas White and this is Thomas Writes. Today I wanted to talk about The Monster in the Hollows by Andrew Peterson, which is the third book in the Wingfeather Saga. If you're curious about this change of scenery, it's because I am home for the holidays, so unfortunately I don't have my book altar or anything like that, though this is an audiobook, so maybe that doesn't matter as much. But I wanted to briefly talk about this book today. I finished reading it on Audible, and yes, that does count as reading for those of you who I know are going to comment that it is not really reading. This will probably be a pretty quick review, as honestly I don't have a ton to say that I haven't said in my other Wingfeather Saga videos. But to kick off this review, this book picks up immediately after the events of the second book and sees our heroes having to struggle with all that transpired in book 2 without spoiling anything. And to be honest, this one is probably my least favorite of the Wingfeather Saga books so far. It's not bad, don't get me wrong. I just feel like this one has the worst pacing out of any of the books. There is some really intriguing stuff that happens in the first few chapters of the book, but then most of the book is spent with our characters going to school. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm kind of tired of young adult fantasies that always have the characters in school and having to deal with bullies and having to get separated into houses like in Harry Potter. I just feel like it's so overplayed. I don't really care for that kind of plot line too much. It does lead to some interesting things later on in the book. It's just kind of a personal nitpick of mine. And to be honest, for about 2/3 of the book, it feels like not a ton happens. It feels like a side story, honestly, for most of it. However, when you get to that last third of the book, there are some pretty crazy reveals and emotional moments that happen that I was not expecting at all. To be honest, the book had lost me for most of the middle chunk, but when I got to that last third and that last quarter, man, it was tugging on my heartstrings like you wouldn't believe. So all of that to say, it's not a bad book by any means. It just feels like it takes a long time to get to the main plot. The characters are still really good, the humor is still really solid, and I still had a fun time listening to it, even if it lost me for a bit there in the middle. To be honest, I'm kind of struggling with my rating on this one, but I think for now I'm going to go ahead and settle out of 3 stars out of 5. This is probably my least favorite of the Wingfeather Saga books, but it is by no means a bad book. It still has some really good stuff in there that I'm sure will pay off in the final book. It just took a little too long to get to those points and spent a lot of time on things that I felt like weren't relevant to the main plot. I know this was a shorter video, but I'm sure I will have way more to talk about this series once I start the final book and get my video up for that. So stay tuned for my thoughts on the final Wingfeather Saga book. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, as brief as it was. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and comment down below on what you think about the Wingfeather Saga and what you think about my thoughts on it. I know that this book is very highly rated on Goodreads, so I kind of feel bad bringing down the score a bit. I'm curious as to see what you guys think about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.